A hearty welcome to everybody on the 3 months Mastermind business plan. It has been such a privilege and an honor to finally get to the stage to launch this, and a special thank you to Chibuko, who has spent endless hours and relentless time making sure that this program is come off the ground. Also, I think a special hearty welcome goes to the 2 candidates who made the effort to pick up their forms and have enrolled in the course. I hope you find this journey very rewarding and that you learn a lot and that your business grows and flourishes from here. For those who haven't done it yet, please go and get your forms and enroll in this very exciting program for 3 months. And as you know, Chibuko and I are both very passionate about growing small enterprises and small businesses and making sure that they really flourish, because we believe that that is the way that our economies are going to grow, and that is how we're going to create wealth within the world, in society, and even for yourself. So the topic I want to talk about today is really, why do small businesses not scale for growth? And really, mostly when you start a small businesses, your first aim is really just to survive. You make sure that you just literally survive, that you make ends meet, but you don't really plan for flourishing. You don't really plan for exponential growth. And that is where our first fault lies. We really need to grow and think about our businesses really from the beginning on where we're going to scale it to. What's the capacity that we're going to take it to? And it makes no difference if you're going to earn $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000. The effort and the energy you're going to put in is exactly the same. But the planning that you're going to do up front is absolutely vital. So there are 6 steps that I want you to think about as you are imparting and growing your business, and to really start thinking about them from the onset. The first step that I want to leave you with is, don't overlook your competition from the onset. I know we always think, we don't really need to worry about them. We're too small, so why really worry about them? Or we're going to overtake them at some stage. Don't be that arrogant about it. Really monitor what your competition is doing. Watch what they're offering. Watch what they are bringing to the market. So, make sure what they are offering, and make sure you're flexible enough and agile enough to adapt. Okay. Secondly, already think about the people that you need. In the beginning, when you start a business, you're most probably a one-man show, a solo entrepreneur. You're the cook and bottle washer. You do everything, but that's not going to last very long. And it's not the wisest strategy. And it's definitely not the wisest strategy I had in my business. So really think from the onset, what people do I need to bring into my business, either on a full-time capacity or from an outsourcing capacity. So look at it from, what are things that you are not naturally that good at, and then outsource those on a contractual basis so that you don't have these people permanently on your payroll. And very often it's the things that we need the most in our business, such as an accountant or a lawyer or human resources, and definitely IT and digital marketing. So those are your core people that you've got to surround yourself with in a business. The third point is, try and bring in systems as early as possible and remove all the manual work in your business. So try and bring in systems, make sure you've got apps running, make sure that they're compatible with each other, that it really helps for you to automate things as much as possible. And then when you do bring in systems, make sure that they also communicate with each other, and that it's not that the one system has to be replicated into another system. The fourth one is, think risk. Risk does happen, and very often we think, we'll worry about it later. But sit down sometimes and do a solid risk analysis of what can all go wrong in your business, and start thinking about, if this happens, how would I fix it or resolve it. So the first step is identify the risk that you can possibly encounter in the business, and then perhaps rate it, what the impact of that risk would be in your business. Is it high, medium, or low? And then what is your counter effect that you will bring in, your contingency plan, if this risk happens. So it's sometimes quite something simple where it's the networks go down for 3-4 hours. What are you going to do? Or what happens if you have a power outages for 2 days? What happens if you have a labor strike for 3 days? So really start to think, what are the possible risks that can happen in your business, and really think wild and big there. I mean, nobody thought of COVID. Nobody even had that as a risk plan or strategy. But really start thinking about it and think of the contingencies. It does take time. It's not a nice thing to do, but it really does save you a lot of money and a lot of time in the long run. Tip number 5 is really start looking at your cash flow. Be very clear of what your cash flow needs to be like, because customers will not always pay you within the allotted time. So whatever you give them, a week or a month, they will always try and stretch it. And be clear how that works, because if you don't have cash flow, you can't pay your suppliers, or maybe even your your employees. So it has a knock-on effect for you. And be clear what is the minimum cash flow that you can work with in the business. And then as well, where are you going to get financing from if it gets exceptionally tight? So is there a way already you can now from the bank have an emergency overdraft that you can tap into when there is such a situation? And again, cash flow is one of the reasons why small businesses fail in the first 3 years, and primarily it's just because we run out of money. And being mindful that the money that you have in your bank account does not equal cash flow, so it's not necessarily the same. The 6th one, which is very important, is to set measurements in your business. So set measurements that you're going to measure the success of your business. And that is everything from sales, like what are your sales targets going to be? What are your social media targets going to be? How many people are you going to expect? So everything that you can tangibly measure in your business, measure it and have it evaluate it every month and then reassess it. Especially as a small business, you need to look at these figures and this data on a monthly basis so that you can adapt and align very quickly. It's not something where you have time, because you need to be quite agile and quite flexible. And also then the perhaps another tip that I want to leave you with is that when you design your budgets, which is absolutely one of the key measurements to do, is you need to design a financial budget of how much income you are wanting to bring in and how much expenses you have. Don't make sure it zeroes out at the end of the month, i.e. that it's no profit made. You need to make sure that there's enough money left in the bank account for you at the end of every month. And my personal advice to you is to try and make sure that you can save up to 3 months of operating expenses in your business. So try and take all the profits that you possibly can and put them aside as a reserve fund, that you've got money in case you hit an absolute wobble, and that you've got 3 months of operating profits set aside. Thereafter, you can start taking the profits to start investing back into the business, buying more systems or upgrading on certain things or investing things, because I know setting up a business in the beginning is very expensive. You don't have the money for everything, but really start being clear what it has. If you start a business, you put in a relentless amount of time and hours, and you will be spending more time in the business than what you sometimes think it's worth. Persevere, hang in there. It does take a lot of commitment and time. However, if you listen to the 6 tips and if you follow them, you will be successful and you will persevere. Also knowing that the first 3 years are perhaps the most toughest and the hardest years to get through, but if you've successfully succeeded in those 3 years, you will definitely make it as an entrepreneur. You will fail. There will be things that you will fail in. There'll be situations where things don't go according to plan. Don't let them get you down. It's part of the journey. Really sit back, reflect on them, and think how you can do it differently and better next time, and then do it again. So it's all about getting up again, standing up again, and trying again. So those are my 6 tips I want to leave you with on how to grow your business from the onset. I wish you all the best of success, and I'm sure our journeys will pass somewhere through this 3 months mastermind. Stay well, good luck, and stay safe, and stay well. Goodbye.